Good morning, lovely being. It is great to see you. And I'm standing here on my front doorstep because it's actually drizzling out here. But I said I'd show you the garden and I want to. So, see this massive mulching pile. There's 3 trees in it actually. 2 of them have been removed and the stuff on top is a big prune in the back garden. But this is what happened. The cherry tree really needed to be shaped. Because it had gotten very big on this side and it wasn't balanced. Good morning, Yusuf. It's great to see you. So the cherry tree got good attention from an arborist over the weekend, and I actually took that tree out because it was growing. It's been here almost as long as I have. In fact, I think it is as old as I've been in this house. And it was growing up towards the power line, and it would have kept going. And it was shading things and not being healthy and all kinds of stuff. So it got taken out. And so now there's this big space. And I'm going to put stuff in it. But that's what happened in the weekend. It was very exciting. Hello, Janine. So I'm very pleased to have it done. Anyway, you can see better. Good morning, Linda. And the sedum, I have to say, is just spectacular. It's glorious. It's just raining a little bit, so I don't know if the Wi-Fi will hold up if I stay outside. So today we're doing the tour from up here, and you can see, you get a different view from up here. There's the magnolia, which I've pruned so carefully to make the lovely shapes. Good day, Julian! And there's the garden. So I shall miss walking around in it, but it's just too wet. It doesn't look like it's wet, but believe me, it's drizzling. And yeah, I don't know if the Wi-Fi will hold up. So that's what we're doing. We're going inside now. Shut the door. And shut the other door and walk into the lounge and sit myself down. I've got a little spot here where I put my phone and square everything up and put my clock on the bench, and away we go. So, and I got to put a cushion on my lap. I don't know why. Well, I do. It's just what I do. So today I want to talk about one of my favourite topics. You got it. One of my favourite topics is saying no. And why is it so good to say no? Well, think about it. If you say yes to everything, chances are you're going to say yes to a whole lot of stuff that you don't actually want. And we get programmed from an early age to say yes to things that we don't want. Now, that doesn't mean that you always should say no to everything, and it doesn't mean that you always should have to want to do everything, because there are things in life that you need to do. You need to brush your teeth, you need to go to bed at the right time, you need to eat, you need to take out the trash, you need to clean the house, whatever it is. There are things that just have to be done. But being able to self-regulate and motivate yourself enough to get things done that need to be done is not the same as being able to say, is feeling like you have to say yes to everything that everybody ever asks you. It's just, come on, no. No. I want to say no. But so often we don't. This was me. This really was me. I remember, and I didn't even know that I was saying yes to a whole lot of stuff that I didn't like, because it was so automatic and so normal, because this is what you do, you're being a good person, you just, and well, it wasn't me being a good person, actually, it was me trying not to feel the excruciating pain of not fitting in and feeling rejected or just feeling so displaced, and I just did not know how to say no. It wasn't even a thing that I understood. And probably it was something that I didn't understand because, and it's nobody's fault, I want to make this very clear, I really didn't have much sense of self. For a long time, I really didn't know what I wanted for me. it really was all about other people. And like I say, avoiding the excruciating pain of feeling someone's displeasure at me, or feeling rejected, or feeling even more like I don't fit in. As near as I can remember, that was what was motivating me in those days. And it was nice. So saying no came right down the list because emotional survival was more important. And I can remember being engaged to my first husband and going to visit his family. It was the last thing I wanted. It was just what they did, okay? It was normal that you went to see the family, once or twice a month. I didn't want to do that. But I did because that was just what you did. It never really, I knew I didn't like it, but it never occurred to me to say, oh, no, you go. No, I don't want to go. It was just so programmed in me that you said yes. And nobody made me do it, So the idea, the concept, the possibility that I might want something else was so foreign to me. It was totally not considered. I did not know what was good for me and what was right for me. Everything that I chose was really all defined by other people, not because they were forcing things on me in the same way as, you've experienced, Linda. Everyone else is always saying, no, I won't, so, I have to. Although sometimes I did that. And maybe that's what you mean, maybe it isn't. But it was always just about the course of least resistance, I think. I don't know. I didn't think about it much. But eventually somebody asked me, well, what do you actually want? And I do remember this. It was one of those moments that you remember. When I was 21, very unhappy, and my sister paid for me to see a really pretty talented therapist. And she said, well, what do you want? And I remember that, I don't remember what I said, but my whole answer was framed in terms of the other person or the other people. It was always about others, and I really hadn't had an independent thought of my own about what I wanted before. It took me some time to actually understand, connect with, realise what I wanted in the situation, and to put that into words. And I remember it was really strange. She kept saying, well, no, what do you want? That's about the other person. That's about them. That's, what do you want? Hi, Helen. It was weird. And so to be able to say yes and say no to whatever it is that you want or don't want in life, you actually got to know what you want. And that's not as simple as it sounds. Because for most of us, we have to go through the process of growing up and being conditioned to, like the old time American dream. Hi, Nora! You grow up, you get married, you have kids, you buy a house, you get a job, you work that job, you retire and you go play golf and then you live happily ever after until you're finished. That sort of archetypal life of family and job and house and was kind of programmed because, I grew up in the 60s. That was programmed in. That was what people did. So the first thing we have to do is realise that what we see in the media, what you read in the magazines, what you see on Netflix or on television or whatever, that's not what you want. It might be what you're used to believing you want, but it might have nothing to do with what you actually want. And you may have no idea what you want. When you really start to question, when you really start to think, okay, it used to piss me off and say, what lights you up? Nothing lights me up, buddy. And you want me to say what lights me up? Nothing gives me joy. Nothing excites me. Life's just so damn hard, and there's all this stuff I have to do and all these responsibilities I've got to look after, and you want me to talk about what lights me up? I don't know what you're talking about. And that was kind of a clue that I had no idea what I really wanted or liked. I didn't know what lit me up. I do now. I really do. Nazi! Great to see you, morning! And it is a clue, right? Whatever it is, whatever experience, memory, connection, relationship, I don't know, something that actually, makes you glow. It's just, oh, that was so good. Oh, that was lovely. Those kinds of experiences you might put in the category of something about that lit you up, right? And those are the things that, whether we're conscious or not, are what, that's the, we want more of that. We want to feel good. But when you're so used to not feeling good, or you're so used to feeling like everything's a responsibility, you just have to make it all happen and do it and, be a good person and do everything that everyone expects of you, you can barely notice what makes you feel good. And then if you do notice, oh, gee, I actually really like that, very quickly, we talked about this yesterday, you can think, well, yeah, but I can't get any more of that. It was just a one-off, somebody bought me a ticket, or, or that relationship's over, or that was a really nice place to live, but I can't go back there. It's very easy for us to immediately jump in because we notice something we want, and then we notice we don't have it straight away. That's the whole thing about being human, being alive, is that there's where you are and there's where you start to imagine and create and desire to be. And there's a gap. And how do I fill the gap? And, if filling the gap is as easy as thinking, well, I'm hungry and there's some food in the fridge, well, then you feel no fear because you can walk to the fridge and get the food. But if you're feeling hungry and there's no food in the house and you've got no money and no ability to go out and get some, well, you're going to have a really different experience about the gap between being hungry and wanting to have something to eat. So, how big's the gap? And if you know that you're hungry and there's nowhere you can get food to eat, you're very quickly going to lack. And, of course, the more you feel the lack of it, the more you feel hungry, and the more you feel lack, and the more you feel hungry. And, you're really into what you don't have. So, it's very easy for us to get stuck on what we don't want and to not know what we do want. But you really got to know what you do want, because until you know what you really do want, it's very, very hard to actually even want it. And if you can't wrap your intention around something that you desire to create in your life, well, it's not going to just fall out of the sky. Oh yeah, when you stood and you know, it totally is an earthquake, because suddenly you're not behaving in character, Linda. Linda's the person who always cleans up after our messes, and we can just throw stuff at her and she'll organise it, or whatever it is. And suddenly you start saying, no, you sit in your own shit if you create it. Oh my God, yeah, that's an earthquake. And that's powerful. So what happened is you decided not to pick up their stuff, or whatever it was you did, because you did not want to. Hi, Robin! And so that's a big old yes to you and a big old no to your old self, your old way of being, and, and people do get a shock. But once they get over the shock, well, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're so shocked that they're not willing to accept that you are changing, right? They're not willing. And so they fight the fact that you are starting an earthquake in their life by refusing to be who you've used to be, by refusing to live up to their expectations or do what you've always done. Sometimes they get really pissed off and they try harder and harder and harder to make you continue to be the person that they expect you to be. And sometimes they will see that you've changed and they will celebrate it. Oh my goodness, wow, you're different. But I kind of like that. Woohoo! Let's, keep doing that. And, sometimes they'll totally make you out to be the problem, Helen. But that's the thing. That's their shit. That's them saying, no, I want you to go back to being how I'm used to being. Don't you dare say no to something you've said yes to for the last 32 years. I want you to change. I'm comfortable. But you're not comfortable, and you're saying yes to something else and saying no to what they're used to. They are going to get upset. The third option is that they come with you. They actually go, oh, this is weird, this is unfamiliar, this is unknown. But, you know, I'm invested enough in this relationship, and I like you, and so let's move through this together. So they either completely blow you off and try to insist that you stay who you are, and you have to keep saying no. You usually have to say no more than once before people get it. Or to some degree or another, they decide to come with you. And that's fine. But you're choosing. And every time you choose yourself, there is a certain level of, oh, I did that. I chose me. I must love myself a little bit. I must have some self-love. I must value myself. Hi, Heather! Yeah, we had a good time, eh? So you say yes, and you get the reinforcement in yourself because you say yes to yourself. And because you're becoming more satisfied and happier in you, that is actually better for everybody around you, unquestionably. Anybody who is around you that doesn't want you to be happier and more satisfied in yourself, you don't want to be around you anyway. And that's a tough thing, because when you start saying yes to yourself, there are perhaps going to be people who are not willing for you to be happy. They like you sad, they like you disempowered, they like you miserable. And when you start saying no to being like that, those people will either fight you, or they'll just go away straight away, or they'll come with you. Because they will see you choosing more for yourself, choosing a better experience for yourself, and they might wake up and say, oh, hang on a minute, you mean I don't have to be in this crappy space for forever and ever? You mean I can change? That person's really different. You know, and they start to think. And that's why, it's one of the reasons why it's better for everybody if you say yes to yourself. Because even if they just get really angry and leave because they don't want you to be happier, they are at least in a more honest relationship with you, and you are in a true relationship with yourself, and you're no longer hanging out with somebody who wants you to be miserable. You know, that's got to be better. I walked out the door or threw them out because they wouldn't let me. Yeah, exactly. You just got to a point of saying, stuff this. I want to do what I need to do for myself. And they either come with you or you have to let them go. And that can be the challenging thing, because the people who don't want to come with you, the people who don't want to be there as you grow, the people who don't want to grow with you, the people who don't want you to elevate and get happier and more fulfilled and have more to give. Because this is what happens when you start saying yes to yourself and you fill your own cup. You have more to give, right? But you're giving from that place of fullness rather than from neediness and unhappiness. You don't want them around if they're not up for that. Why would you stay there? But it's scary, because then you're going into the unknown. Oh, if that person goes away, if they tell me to piss off, or they just quietly fade away because they don't want to be around the new happier me. Oh, will someone else come? Yeah, they will. You may be in a void for a while. Yeah, experiencing a really close friend. Yes, exactly. And those close friends, this is the thing, I'm going to quote Joe Dispenza here because it makes so much sense. Very often, if we're unconscious, we use our friends to affirm our emotional addiction. Remember, the thinking about the bad things that happen and the feeling about it, our emotional addiction to suffering. Oh, do you remember that thing that happened before and then now it's happened again, and I ate carbs today and I'm feeling so guilty. Oh, I did too. I feel guilty too. Oh, isn't it awful how we both can't manage our diets and we both feel bad about, that's how friendships can work. And so if you start elevating out of that, you don't want to talk about the past, and you don't want to talk about the things you can't do, you want to talk about the things you're creating, and you're no longer miserable so that they can feel better being around you, because, oh, look at her, she's down, she's more down than I am, now I feel better about myself. If you're not filling that space for them, you don't want to be around them. You're elevating in your consciousness and becoming somebody who is going to hang out with people who are actually delighted when you get happier. Instead of, oh, I don't want to hang out with that anymore. I want someone who's going to reinforce my misery, thank you very much. I want someone to be unhappy with. So it takes some courage to let go, but you will start to celebrate it, even as you're going, oh God, I'm letting go again. But you recognise that the quality of the interaction was about someone you're no longer wanting to be. And it's another yes, it's another no, saying yes, I choose to be happy. I choose to love and value myself. I choose to be future focused instead of always talking about the things that I can't have and the things that went wrong and, the past, right? And really close friends can go away when you start becoming somebody different. No, you didn't distract me, Nora. It was perfect. Perfect example of what happens when we say yes to ourselves. Oh my God. It's so normal that this happens. As you start to elevate your energy, as you start to change, people either change with you and they come with you or they go away. And if we understand that's what happens when you say yes and you say no, and that it's good, because that person that's moving away doesn't want to elevate with you. So don't be in a tug of war with them. Let them go. You elevate yourself. You're finding new friends, new people that are interested in that. And it gets easier to just, oh, okay, they're not in a resonant match with me anymore. Okay, all right. I'm going to relax into this unknown space where, there's an empty gap. They've gone. But something new is being made space to happen here. Just like I cut a tree out of my front garden. There's a big hole. Now I actually know what I'm going to put in there. It's going to take time to grow. It's in the back. Little things cuttings that are sprouting. I'm going to plant there in spring. When they've got roots, probably actually autumn, let's be honest. It takes time. So, this is the process. Saying yes, saying no. You're going to know what you want. And you've got to have the courage to keep choosing yourself and realizing that the people and things and situations that don't fit with who you're becoming are going to fall away, and that's okay. It's making space for something new. Exactly, Linda. You left that whole thing of revisiting the trauma over and over and over again behind. Who wants to stay in the past? You are so about your future now. That's what we're doing. I love this stuff. See, I love talking about yes and no. It's all about what we're creating. Big love. Thank you so much for joining with me, showing up late. I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye.